Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Oh, happy Sunday morning, everyone. It's early. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend so far. Y'all see what I'm about to get into. Uh huh. No rest for the weary. But I want to come on here and talk about Power. I got a chance to see it earlier this morning, and it is the mid-season finale, so it's gonna actually be on hiatus until December of this year. So I'm not sure how many episodes, if it's 10 altogether, but up until this point, which is the mid-season, it's been 5 episodes. So we'll see. This episode is called The Gift of the Magi. I have no idea what it means. I had some idea what last episode, which was called The Prince, was about, but The Gift of the Magi, even when Courtney Kemp tried to explain it in her little spoiler thing where she tells you what she meant by the poor writing, when she explains her poor writing to you like you slow. Um, I still didn't get it. So we just gonna hop into this episode. And what I decided to do, because honestly, the episode is all over the place. And I kinda can give it up to people like Forest Rocks and Really BTV and people like that who can do the episode really, really quickly and in order. Um, I don't know how many times y'all got to do it. I don't know how much editing y'all got to do, but I can't. I can't with all the running around. Like it is literally like time travel in this episode. It's like time travel. Like 1 minute an individual is here and the next minute an individual is ringing, here at night, and 2 seconds later they're ringing the doorbell in this early morning somewhere else. Like anyway, so let's talk about Tasha. The episode opens up really familiar, and for those few little minutes, I was feeling good. I was feeling nostalgic. It was old Tasha with her old unit. It was her mom. They were singing happy birthday. They had Yaz there. And they were singing happy birthday to Tariq, who it was his 18th birthday. So you guys, if you've been following the show, you know if it's Tariq's 18th birthday, it's also Raina's 18th birthday because they are twins. So, saying happy birthday, there's a knock at the door, goes to the door, and it's Raina. And Raina's like, oh, am I too late? And she's like, no, no, you're right on time. And then it's this moment where she is realizing inside of her dream that she's dreaming, that Raina isn't real. And even though she does apologize to Raina and say she was sorry and so glad to see her, and we were all glad to see old pie face Raina back. Tasha wakes up and in jail with her cornrows. It's all a dream, obviously. Opens her Bible, and there's a picture she has in there of them all as a family before Raina was killed, and I guess Ghost went sideways. And then she calls Tariq on the phone and she wishes him a happy birthday, and he's thanking her. He wants to know how she's doing. She says she's doing fine. Uh, he says he's gonna come and see her, but he's gotta go. He's got a couple of things on his plate. Later, we get to see things kind of escalate as far as Tasha is concerned, because she learns that Tamika Benson and Hedges has been subpoenaed by Davis. And she gets to talk to Davis, and she wants Davis to drop the subpoena. She can't testify. Like, you cannot do it. He is refusing to drop it because he's just like, you tying my hands here. And she is. She's like, make something out of nothing. Okay? I'm going to tie your hands. I'm going to bound them to your feet, basically hog tie you and throw you in the river. And you got to find your own way out, sir. She's not really giving him anything in terms of how he can help her. So these parameters that she has, she's trying to push on him. He's not going for it. So she calls Tariq back and relies on Tariq to go and talk to Tamika and convince her. Tariq is like, you want me to take care of her? Like, you want me to take care of her, like put her to sleep? And she's like, no, no, no. You just got to make sure you convince her. Now, you send your 17, just now 18-year-old son over to talk to a skilled prosecuting attorney. Skilled attorney, right? She used to be in Saxe's job over the whole division, but he got to go over there and talk to her. Okay. Later on, when she finds out that Tariq kind of fails at the situation, she decides she's going to handle it herself. She takes that same burner phone. She tells him, go enjoy your birthday. Be 18. Have your life. I got it from here on out. I think you said this once before, Tasha. I do remember you saying this like 2 or 3 episodes before. You go on and finish school and let mama handle this, but you kept mucking it up. You keep mucking it up, and now once again you bringing Tariq back into the situation. Honestly, they don't have to prove nothing but Tasha didn't do it. And they don't need somebody else. They just need reasonable doubt that it was somebody else. That's all. It could have been anybody. All you had to do was prove the whole host of people that got beef with James St. Patrick. Like, come on. Anyway, she calls, I can't remember if she called Davis or if she called Saxe and said that she wanted to make a deal. And you know, it's a whole mess. Once again, Tasha is mucking it up, mucking her own situation up, and really just cobbling Tariq out here in the game. Davis McLean, like I said, not only does he tell Tasha no, but he goes down to Tamika's house and she got company. He busts on up in there. He wants to know what's going on, why Tasha don't want her to testify, all this, that, and the third, and she tells him to have a seat. We don't know the extent of what she tells him, but we do know that she tells him that she found out that Saxe was there that night that James got shot. So then he goes to Saxe and he tries to use this information to get Saxe to recuse himself. And Saxe has some information of his own regarding the situation. So he is not trying to hear nothing that Davis has to say. Okay? And Davis, being the Slytherin attorney that he is, and what my dear say, a lawyer. He ain't no lawyer, he a lawyer. He cuts a deal with Saxe, okay? Cuts a deal with Saxe to get his client off and get Tariq hemmed up thanks to Saxe. They gonna work together to get Tasha off and discredit Tariq. Okay? Even though Tariq is the one that's paying for Tasha's defense. All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about it. Tamika Washington came this close to getting killed. Boy, baby, when I tell you that's a beautiful apartment she live in, a beautiful home, and she is wearing them units Okay, she looking good. Last season, this season, Tamika looks good. She still got a lot of Benson and Hedges in her throat. A lot of Benson and Hedges in her throat. Okay, so after Tasha calls Tariq and tells him he has to convince Tamika, he shows up at Tamika's house. And Tamika's like, you are such a long way from Stansfield. How did you get all the way out here? Time travel, Tamika. Time travel. You got to get with the program. In this episode, Power Book 2 Ghosts, we time travel. Okay. I was just at school. Clink, 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 clink. I'm here at Tamika's door. And he tells her she can't testify that and because it may come out that he's the one that saw Stax at Truth that night. And Tamika says, well, why were you there? And he had already took his gun out of his bag and put it in his coat pocket. Now, the boy don't have no business with a gun whatsoever. Because, first of all, it's flip-flopping around his book bag. That's the best way to get your nuts shot off, number one. And number two, when he take it out the bag, he just slide it in his pocket like, it's a pack of Now and Laters or something. You know what I'm saying? Some old Chew Man chews. You know what I'm saying? Some Alexander the Grapes or whatever. You just throw it in your pocket and it got the shiny handle hanging out the side of it. Okay. Cause if she made one false move, he feel like he can't talk her into it. He can't convince her verbally. Physically, it's gonna have to do right. He ain't thought about none of it. He ain't thought about the blowback. He ain't thought about the gunshot. He ain't thought about what he gonna do with the body. He ain't thought about blood spatter. You know what I'm saying? Everybody keeps saying he's Ghost. He's not Ghost in this story. And Brayden isn't Tommy in this story. Lauren is not Angela in this story. Diana is not Tasha in this story. This is a whole nother story. I can see if it's prequel, but we don't need to repeat the characters. We don't. Tariq is no Ghost. He's no James St. Patrick. First of all, we 5 episodes in and Tariq ain't killed nobody. We at the gate, season 1 Power. Ghost was laying waste to ninjas. By the mid-season finale or the season finale of Ghost season 1 season 1, he was killing a good friend of his. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they called him Ghost because he snuck in and out everywhere. He ain't leave no evidence. He ain't leave no trace. Tariq is no ghost. Let's just move on past him being his ghost. He got some elements of his father. He got some elements of Cain. But for the most part, Tariq out here flying blind. He's 60,000 feet in the air with no parachute. Ghost kept a parachute. Okay? Kept a parachute. Anyway. So he tries to talk with her about the situation, and she is just like, let me help you. Let me see if I can, but that's when she gets a knock on the door, and it's Davis McLean at the door. So when she go to the door to answer for Davis, and he is trying to convince her to let him in, he need to talk to her, and she is like, no. He's like, somebody in here. Who you got in here? And he run up in her house. I was like, girl, what did you? Davis, overacting. Tariq goes down the stairs, out of the door, and ends up somehow in a dark alley. Okay, y'all. He called his mama and tell his mama that he couldn't convince her. He couldn't get it worked out with her. And this is why Tasha said, don't worry about it. Go on and be 18. And that's when she made the phone call and said she wanted to make a deal. So, that's Tasha. That's Tamika. So let's talk about Brayden and Riley. Brayden is gonna throw a party for Tariq, his 18th birthday party. Now Tariq don't want no party, but he's gonna throw it, and he's gonna try to get him laid and all this, that, and the third. Riley old forehead. Her forehead area is very old. I was like, she talked like she a teenager, but she looked like she older. I mean, she looked like she 30, 35-ish to me. She steady. They in the liquor store. He ordering all the liquors from everywhere all the time. And she steady asking questions about Tariq. And for a moment, he's just like, why you keep asking about Tariq? And she is just like, I mean, the way he treats you, the way he acts around you, the way he does, yada, yada, yada. Now, I mean, she looked like she ain't been home. She looked like she ain't been home from that first party they was at when he got into a fight. I mean, basically, later on when she talks to her uncle and he gives her the instructions that she's not to talk to Tariq, she's not to interact with Tariq, she's just to basically observe and report back what she sees. uh she says she been spending the night there and she been trying to talk to him. That's why he said you don't need to be talking to him, you don't need to be watching him. But she looked like she ain't been home. Like, she dressed the same exact way she was dressed last episode. um he sees Zeke in the package store and invites Zeke to the party. Zeke don't want to come unless he can be guaranteed it's going to be hoes on hoes on hoes on hoes there, because that's the only reason he is existing right now. Bump school, bump his family, bump basketball. It's all about getting his puss out here. So he kind of comes on to Riley, Zeke does, because she's got a puss, right? And Brayden kind of tries to keep Riley back, hold your puss, calm your puss, cool your puss off, and everything. It's a weird setup. Later on, we get to see where at Tariq's party, it's kind of lit. It looks like they're having it at the Weston frat house. And Riley is there and she's watching out. She is constantly, once again, talking about Tariq. And Brayden kind of gets fed up with it because it's obvious that she is on a real Tariq tip. And then she tried to turn around and say, oh, he's always disappearing on you. He doesn't appreciate anything you do. You know, just a little bird in his ear. Now, it's about you talking about him constantly, but you turn it around like you looking out for him against his friend. We don't even know you. You just been sleeping in the same clothes for the last 3 days in our dorm. Like, what is you talking about? You not with us. Go shower and brush your teeth and put you on some fresh clothes, sis. Anyway, so he tells her to chill out and go fix him a drink. She goes to fix him a drink and she puts drugs in it because she feel like he's being resistant. She need to get him to talk a little bit more. She put some drugs in it. It's something like dopamine or ketamine or petamine or whatever people be out here tricking off taking, child. I don't know. I ain't taking nothing. I ain't drinking nothing. I makes my own drinks. I take my own drink in with me. May look like a water bottle, but it's all I need to get through the night, and I don't mess with no hunch punch. You don't teach your kids nothing else about college. You teach them, don't be messing with that hunch punch. Ain't no telling. It's 25,000 different cheap liquors in there. You're gonna be drunk off your A, and you probably gonna get in some physical trouble by the end of the night. But I digress. So the cup bounces around and bounces around and ends up in Tariq's hand. But we're gonna talk about that. Also, we get to see where um, Riley. We're gonna talk about that, but we get to see after the party, the next morning, we get to see where, for whatever reason, Brayden's brother breaks into his room in the frat house and goes into the secret compartment and takes all of Brayden and Tariq's drugs, all of the pills, red, blue, yellow, green, all of the Skittles, takes all of the Skittles out and puts it in his bag. That's probably going to be an issue for Tariq and Brayden at some point. More Tariq than Brayden, but okay. Um, We also get to see where Tariq is waking up after the party and Brayden is expressing some frustration, a lot of which was put into his ear by Riley. And Tariq ends up telling Brayden what the score is. He doesn't tell him fully, but he does tell him that Zeke, aunt Monet, and her husband Lorenzo are the plug. And they got three little baby bears, okay, and Zeke. And he tells them on the chessboard the position of each one of the baby bears. And he said, if anything happens to me, or if one thing leads to another, yada yada yada, depending on how serious it is, whether to go to the rook or the whatever and the whatever or the bishop. And he clears up Tariq's name. Now he's not able to clear up his mama's name, but he makes sure he stay clearing up Zeke's name. Zeke don't know nothing about none of this. Okay? All right. So Brayden seems like he understands and he's clear on that, and he feels closer now to Tariq than ever. I still feel like he a narc, but he may end up being fodder. You know what I mean by fodder? He might be one of the people that get hemmed up real bad and or dead before this season is over. We gonna see. Anyway, so let's talk about Zeke, Jabari, and Milgram. Of course, Zeke stay looking for puss, and he finds it with Milgram after Tariq's party. After Tariq's party, it ain't really after his party. Like Zeke walked through the party, through the back door, into a time continuum, and ended up somehow at a restaurant where Milgram was. I don't know how he knew she was there. This must be her hangout spot, and everybody knows it, including clueless basketball players who can't even find their way to do their own work, but he know how to track down this puss. And he gets a chance to sit down with her and talk a little bit about his family and all these girls, and all they want is opportunity and catch a lick and all of this stuff. It's a great representation of a black male, isn't it? He's lazy and he's dumb, he's oblivious, he's hoish. All he want to do is play sports. He's unaccountable. He's floating through. Like, it's a wonderful example of blackness, right? Okay. um Push comes to shove, she's had a couple of drinks. She's already earlier on had a conversation with Jabari, where she's told him they can't do this anymore, and he's an excellent writer. She cried the first time she read his book, and woo woo woo, and ya ya ya, and it don't matter because this is all bull crap. It don't mean nothing, but okay. So, one thing leads to another. He ends up screwing her in the bathroom. Okay, raw dogging it. We ain't seen nobody not at one time pull out not now a condom. Look like they struggling with a condom. Nothing. So again, it's an excellent representation of blackness. Yeah. So, and she was like, "We shouldn't be doing this." I was like, "Listen, there's no disclaimers in hoeing. There's no disclaimers in hoeing. That's like saying, I've never done this before. This is so odd. No, it's Sunday morning. We can't do this here. You know what I'm saying? No, you want to hoe because you a hoe. You hoish. Like, you got daddy issues. And every dick you see look like your daddy. Basically, she equates dicks to daddies. Jabari earlier that day, teaching his class, and Tariq comes in late. He's supposed to turn in a 15-page paper. It's supposed to be due at the beginning of the class. He comes in late. Because he late, now it's got to be 20 pages or 25 pages, child. I don't know. No, now it's got to be, Yeah, 25 pages. So he got to write 10 more pages. And before his party, before he go to talk with Monet, before lunch, basically, you know, in an hour, he's able to write 10 more pages. It's hard to add 2 extra pages to something you've been working on for a while, or you wrote in a hurry. But to be able to add 10 more pages on, y'all don't understand. I'm an English major, so uh I'm telling you it's hard. I wrote papers in college for other people. I'm telling you, it is extremely difficult to find language that you can put in that's not regurgitated, that's not plagiarized, that you're not repeating over and over again, that makes sense, that's cohesive. Like, it is one of the most difficult things that you can do. But when he pushes Tariq in this way, Tariq is like, "You're not my daddy. I don't need you to be my daddy," because he was like, "A black man need the black, 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 and a black man has the black, black, black." You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be black, you gotta be black like I want you to be black. Okay? This is my standard of blackness, and you gotta meet this standard of blackness, or I can't do nothing for you. Now, and if he was legit himself, I would say he pushing him and being hard on him, but you don't see him doing nothing but requiring more of Tariq. You don't see him mentoring Tariq. That's why I'm like, Tariq, what you can do is catch one of these. One of these right here. One of these right here. Okay. Okay, and later on we get to see Jabari, and he's with his publisher, and his publisher is basically letting him know, your first book was a hit, your second book was a flop, this third book we're not trying to invest in it unless we can get a guarantee that it's gonna be stellar, and if it's not stellar, then I'm dropping you. I'm letting you go. At the same time, Tariq shows up because he done found out from somebody that this where Jabari hang out at. He stops his meeting with this dude and goes over to Tariq. And Tariq was like, "You right. I came off harsh. I know you just want the best for me. Here's my paper. You know what I'm saying? Let's be friends." They shake hands. I'm glad that you see that my type of blackness is the type of blackness that you should be, Tariq. Good job. Takes the paper. Later on, he's trying to watch porn and write. He's I guess it got a writer's block. In walks Milgram before she goes over to screw Zeke, and she tells him, he tells her what's going on with the publisher. She's like, "I don't know what to tell you except I can't give you no more raw dog pussy no anymore, and I can't get caught up with you anymore." He was like, "Let me make you something to eat." She was like, "I just don't think that's a good idea." He was like, we can do wine and dancing, and she was like, "All I do is raw dog in my office or your office, okay? We not doing dinner. No more never." He sits back down and he starts trying to write again. And he has just read a little bit of Tariq's paper, and he realizes out of the pages that Tariq has added there that there's some gold there. There's some gold in these rushed last 10 pages. And he takes word for word what Tariq is saying in his paperwork and puts it into his book. So, Zeke, Jabari, and Milgram, that's that. Let's talk about Stax. Stax stay winning. Stax really does. Saxe stays winning. He finds a way to sort of discredit Tamika, who's a famed attorney, who's a very strong, stellar attorney. Finds a way to discredit her in a situation. He's using Riley, his niece, to spy on Tariq. And thanks to Riley, he is able to get some information on Tariq that is circumstantial but still damning. It still creates that reasonable doubt that we were talking about earlier regarding Tasha, and kind of points the finger at himself. Um, Basically, Riley finds a way to lowjack Tariq's phone. And later on, when he is not himself and he goes and he talks to Ghost's grave, um, Saxe was able to follow him there and record and get full audio, full clear audio of everything that Tariq was saying at his daddy's grave. And so later on, when Davis comes, Saxe has already gone by Tamika's place and tried to get her not to testify. And she was like, you weren't my client, and it wasn't privileged, so I've just got to tell them what I know. Why were you there? He don't want to talk about all that. First of all, Tamika, again, if anybody show up at your door and they got on black gloves, you don't let them in. Because Tommy used to show up at places with black gloves all the time, him and Ghost, and people usually ended up dead. But I digress. When he talks to Davis and Davis tries to run the okie doke about Tamika, what Tamika has told him about the fact that she knows that he was at Truth that night, he is like, calm yourself, because not only do I know that your girl Tasha got a burner phone because she called me from it and told me she want to make a deal, but also I know that Tariq is the one that probably killed Ghost. This why they don't want nobody to know. This why this why that. And Davis don't challenge him on it because Davis is a shit attorney. He is. He's an ish attorney. Excuse me. He's garbage. Stax stays winning. Okay, and this is one of the problems I have with Courtney Kemp. To me, you write Caucasians to win, and you write your melanated characters. To me, sometimes it seems like you dumb them down. Now we know how it is out here in the real world, right? But here you have an opportunity with pen and paper to write really smart, really concise, very in-depth characters. But you give them titles that's supposed to say that they are the pinnacle in their field or the pinnacle in whatever genre they're in, whether it's the crime syndicate or in the law. You're the pinnacle. He's a famed attorney, but he's getting basically shafted left and right where Saxe is concerned. Davis is getting shafted left and right where Saxe is concerned. And by Saxe's own family's admission, they call him Nancy, not because he is transgender, everyone. I've heard that on several people's reviews. Saxe is not transgender. His family, he's the black sheep of his family. They tease him, and so they called him Nancy Boy. And they still call him Nancy Boy, okay? But by his own family's admission, he finds a way to muck everything up. And Davis, you can't win against him even in the smallest. You got evidence upon evidence to really, really put Saxe's back up against the wall. But you can't do it. This is why I say Saxe stay winning. He stays winning. Okay, for them to bring him back as this head of the district attorney or whatever he is, federal attorney, whatever he is, for you to bring him back after he was lost his job and just all that debacle from last season and put him in this place where he stays winning. Like, I feel like Mock would have been a better example and it would have made a little bit more sense. But like I said, Saxe stay winning. He makes a deal with Davis at Davis's behest. Davis is coming across real grimy. Not that Saxe isn't, but You wanted to get in bed with Tamika, Davis did. He wanted to get in bed with Tamika to help him win. Now you gonna get in bed. Like, who aren't you screwing? Who aren't you giving the reach around? Like, you a dick attorney. You a dick attorney. You shit for attorney. I'm just telling you that now. It just pisses me off. It just pisses me off. Like, this mediocrity. Anyway. So they make a deal to get Tasha off, which Davis is like, I don't care. Long as we get my client off, it's a win for me. You know, I'm shady and shifty and I don't have no ethics. And I don't have enough smarts or enough know-how to outsmart, for all intents purposes, one of the dumbest, shadiest attorneys out here in the game. Like, um, and they go pin it on Tariq. So let's talk about Monet. Monet is schooling Diana on how to hoe instead of higher education. She's schooling her on hoeing and how to use her puss to get men to do what she want them to do. And again, excellent, excellent, excellent examples of blackness. Okay, don't get out of the family. Don't get out of the family, right? Stay in the family. And you know what I'm saying, if you want to come up in the game, it's not through education, it's through hoeing and running game, right? And so she has Kane go and get Tariq. And while she's talking, Monet is talking to Diane and is schooling her on how to hoe instead of higher education. This family is an open book. They don't really have no secrets. Ramirez, the cop that Monet has been having this relationship with in order to get protection and to get information, uh, comes to the door and she was like, "Watch this. I'm gonna show you how to run these ninjas out here." She goes to the door and basically is a mean ass, like she's been all season to this guy, and he's begging her through the door and she sent him away. Kane is pulling up. He got Tariq in the car and Tariq was like, "Why the cops over at your house?" Like, he wasn't in a regular cop car. I can't remember if he had a uniform on, but anyway, Tariq know he a cop. And while Tariq is talking to Kane in this moment, he talking in a real street way, real grimy, like he's relating to Kane on this level. He's trying to figure out what this cop's story is. And Kane, in a moment where he is feeling vulnerable and bitter all at the same time, because he don't want this cop at his mama's house. He don't want this cop showing up over there, especially in the daylight, with everybody knowing the situation with his family and what they all about. It's not good to have a cop there. So she sends him on his way. He comes in with Tariq, and she gets into it a little bit with Kane because he want to know why Ramirez was there, and especially in the daylight, and woo woo woo. And she's like, "Mind your business and stay in your lane." And sends him on his way like a little whip dog, and he tucks his tail and walks on off like, "One day soon, I'm gonna be somebody." What he gonna end up doing is killing his mama. That's what he gonna end up doing, killing his mama, because they got a little bit of an Oedipus complex going on between the two of them. Anywho, so Tariq speaks to Diane. She wants Tariq to focus. Monet does. She wants him to tell her about this picture that she found with Drew. What about this picture? Who is this in this picture? I sent Drew out there, but he come back with this right here, and he was like, "I don't know." And she was like, "What you mean you don't know?" He was like, "I don't know. I'm writing doing Zeke's homework and schoolwork. I'm doing my schoolwork, and I'm trying to run product. I don't have time to know about who this is in this picture. Ask Drew. Like I don't know. And she was like, fine, that's fine. Sends him on his way and tells Diana that she need to keep an eye on Tariq. Keep an eye on Tariq. I sent your brother down there, and he's steady running after dudes. I need you to go down there and get me some information on Tariq. I thought Ramirez was gonna get you some information on Tariq because he can run a. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Not gonna pick at those scabs. Later on, after the party, after everything that happens with Tariq, we see her talking to Diana. We find out that Diana has taken something from Tariq that she should not have taken from Tariq, basically his gun. And she was like, what? She takes a dish towel and takes the gun, with the dish towel. Like she don't want to touch it. It doesn't matter. Your daughter touched it. You got to wipe it clean either way. Like, it's ridiculous how they trying to play this Mary J. Blige character as being like the queen pin of this family. You don't know how many bodies on the gun. None of that. Anyway, um, and she was like, I couldn't get Tariq to tell me anything. Like, it's this whole thing. Later on, we get to see where Mary brings Tariq back to the house, and she wants to know why he didn't tell her about Drew. Why he told then, and he was like, "What my business? Like, that's not my business. Like, yeah, it wasn't his business." And something about something in kids, and he made a reference that he was one of her kids, and she was like, my ninja, and she gives him dap and hugs him up and tells Kane to give Tariq a burner, his burner gun, right? Because when he first came in, this second time she had him pat down, she had Kane pat him down, he's clean. And that's when she asked him the question, and he laid it out and kind of charmed her by acting like he was one of her children. It's something she seems like she really, really enjoys, is taking in stray cats and then turning them into the life. You know what I'm saying? Like flipping them into life. Now, at this point, she got to know that Tariq been in the life, at least to some degree. All right, but whatever. She daps him up, hugs him up, tells Kane to give him his burner. And Kane was like, what? She was like, do it. Tariq gets the burner, the gun from him, and puts it where, I don't know. Tariq, again, you don't know how many bodies is on this gun. What you gonna use this gun for? As far as we know, this gun has been used to kill at least 2 people. The uncle and the dude in the beginning at the party, right? We don't know. We don't know, right? Like, they hug it out, and she gonna go in there and fix him some mac and cheese and a grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, let's talk about Tariq and Tariq's party, you guys. First of all, Tariq talks to Drew, and Drew is already in love with Everett. Everett is the guy from art class that he ended up sleeping with that same day. I don't know if we 2 days out. I don't know if we 3 days out. I don't know if it was the day before. But the way all the characters look, it looked like ain't nobody went home and took no shower. I mean, Tariq is always dressed in all black and got a book bag. Basically, he goes from scene to scene in the same get up. I don't know, especially Drew being a gay man. From the limited amount that I know about gay dudes, they not really big on monogamy until they get to, to a certain age, like a lot of people. But dudes is hoish anyway, straight or gay. But it's weird. It's weird that he had this one chance encounter where they was just banging it out, and now all of a sudden we see where Drew is basically chasing after Everett and trying to talk him into coming out. Everett is like, what is you talking about? Like, I'm on the basketball team. It's a different situation. He's sitting in the car with Drew, and Everett is trying to play it off when Diana walks up, and Diana's like, "Boy, be quiet." And he was like, "No, everybody knows about my situation. This Drew." He tells Tariq the same thing. When Tariq tries to let him know that his mom asked him about that photo, but he didn't say nothing, Drew was like, "You can say whatever you want to say. I don't give a damn because everybody knows about me. Everybody knows my situation. Everybody's clear on it." I was like, "Okay, cool. So you out like this, but you also in love with Everett. You gotta know it was just a thing. Like, what's the point in Jacked? What's the point in the guy next door? Whatever this app is, where they can tell who is looking for sex in the same area that they in. Like, I don't know what the name of that app is, but I used to have a friend that used to use it all the time. Like, you looking for love? You looking for love? Really? Boy, bye. Gay men is just like straight men. Most of them ain't ready to settle down until they done did all they can do. You know what I'm saying? They done put as many miles on them ding dings as they can. Right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. To play this character out like he's supposed to be in love, I mean, and he a drug dealer. Like, anyway, he tells Tariq that Monet was just testing him, that he need to watch his back, and he need to keep his eyes open and guard himself with his family. We see him at the party, and all he is doing is looking for Everett. I don't know if he expected to walk into the party holding Everett's hand. I don't know if he expected to have Everett's Letterman jacket and his class ring taped around his finger. I'm not really sure what the end game was in this whole thing, with him trying to have his eyes, his nose wide open and being all sprung over Everett. Like, it's nonsense. Tariq's party. We get to see Lauren and Diana at Tariq's party. Neither one of them really served a purpose per se. Diana shows up. He kind of blows Diana off and takes Lauren upstairs to talk with her. This is when he gets the drink from Brayden after Riley had put drugs in it and gave it to him. And Brayden gives it to Tariq and tells him to chill out and cool out and calm down because he really don't want to party. He still got people texting him. He still got stuff he trying to take care of. He just don't really have time for it. But he snubs Diana, takes Lauren upstairs and drinks his drink. And slowly but surely he starts to pass out. She was like, "You drunk?" He was like, "I don't really drink like that." She was like, "You a lightweight. I don't really drink like that because my daddy didn't know how to hold his liquor. I said I would never be this way." He passes out. She can't wake him up. She get up. She walk off. Okay, now Riley is following Tariq around the party everywhere, and she sees where Lauren comes out, and she goes in, and that's when she looks like she's taking a picture of him passed out with her, but apparently she low-jacked his phone some type of way, child. I don't know. Goes out. Brayden's brother goes in to this room where Tariq is passed out. It's his room. He puts Tariq out after a couple of misogynistic, rapey type exchanges with Riley. Puts Tariq out. Tariq stumbles downstairs. He's not quite himself. He sits on the front stoop. When he sits on the front stoop, Diana is there, and she was like, "What's up?" And he was like, trying to give her a hug, and she was like, "Nah, nah, nah, you in a weird way." Lauren turned him down too. He tried to kiss Lauren too, and she was like, "I'm not trying to be with you like that, and you all drunk and stuff." And Diana was like, "Get off me too." He was like, "Yeah, I respect that." She looks down in his open book bag where this gun is, and that's when she takes the gun and puts it in her purse. I have no idea. Your mama told you to come back with information, not this dude's gun. But whatever. Anyway, he gets up from there and stumbles on off, and that's when he goes to the gravesite. Gets to the gravesite and talks to Raina. That was actually a touching moment. I do still think that Michael Rainey, the Tariq character, is one of the best actors on the series. I do like his acting skills. Um, and he has this conversation about it's Raina's birthday too, and she should be here, and I should have been there to protect you. It's one of the few touching moments in this episode, and then we see where he walks over to his dad's gravesite, and he's kind of, sad but angry, and he's drunk, and he's high, and all this, that, and the third. He's probably more high than drunk. And he says, that's why I had to do what I had to do. And this is the conversation that Saxe gets on his phone in complete full audio, which is inadmissible. Completely inadmissible, but that's the episode, you guys. So this is supposed to be the cliffhanger. We didn't have any murders, just another useless sex act, and we have all of these intertwined nonsense story. Like, what's the point in the whole Everett Drew situation? What's the whole point in Monet continuing to push this narrative about trying to teach Diana about how to run a family and how to run men and how to, do this, that, and the third. Like, what is the point? Like, where is this going? The season is already so rushed. If you got this whole cavalcade of characters, how do you then, in a rushed season, take all of it, all of these characters, and make them make sense? How? How is it possible? What is the point in bringing in these useless storylines? You've got such rich storylines already with the characters that we know. That we know. Okay, why are we bringing in this cavalcade of characters that make no sense? That make no sense. Brayden's brother is taking the drugs. We know that Tariq and Brayden are going to have to answer for those drugs. We know it's probably going to be more Tariq that has to answer for it than Brayden. Is Brayden going to set Tariq up? Is Tariq going to set Brayden up? Like, what's the point in Drew and Everett? Like, what... How is this situation gonna play out to help Tariq, to help the St. Patrick's, to help Tasha, to help push the storyline, to bring them to the next season, to bring them to the next book? Like, what? What are we doing? What are we doing? Y'all tell me what you think. Y'all put it down below. And until next time, honeybees. I holla.